Hey guys, welcome back to Chief Concerns, the 2021 Divisional Round episode. Today we're here with our hosts, former tight end Jason Dunn and former cornerback Eric Warfield. Today we're breaking down the playoffs and the Chiefs divisional matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Fellas, how are you guys doing?
So far, so good.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. Looking forward to it. Woo! Looking forward. Let's go.
Got a little Big 12 matchup between Baker and Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Interesting matchup. You know, two athletic quarterbacks. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Before we get into the this past weekend, what did you guys think of the Nickelodeon telecast? Did you guys watch the Nickelodeon?
I didn't watch it. I tuned into it and I saw all the graphics that they were throwing in with end zones and certain plays. So it's a little too much for me to as a avid sports person and then a former player to enjoy something like that. I mean, I can see how kids would get into it, but yeah, as far as me, myself, no.
You got to explain that to me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So Nickelodeon was hosting the game also. They were showing it as well as, I don't know, CBS or ABC was one of those channels. Okay. But they were throwing in little animated stuff with it. I mean, Marcus might be able to describe it better, but yeah, I personally like, listen to Tony Romo. So
yep.
He gives a great overall view of the game and the concepts to it. So, and when I turned it over to the Nickelodeon channel, I heard it was another crew calling the game, and then they threw some little gimmicks, and I was like, no, this I'm not gonna sit here and ruin this game to entertain these little kids back here. So,
right. Okay.
I think as far as just that aspect of it, I know the NFL's got, I know they're trying to get the younger demographic in it, but I think the NFL is one of the sports that has the young demographic and the older demographic. The NBA's got the younger demographic lockdown, and they need help with the older crowd. So, and then I think MLB is one that could kind of implement that, what we saw the Nickelodeon, because that's the one that's the sport that needs the help the most. I think it's cool that NFL is testing that, but I think NFL is pretty good with their fan base.
True.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I just thought because a lot of people were going nuts about it online and stuff, but I was watching the Roma one more than I was the Nickelodeon one. I just wanted to get a little taste of it.
I probably watched 30 seconds of it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not into this. I'm gonna head on back to Romo and the crew.
Well, the thing was that a lot of people were loving on Twitter was the I guess the penalty explanation. So there was a holding call. They had the character from the young Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory, that TV show on CBS. They had him explain the penalty. So for kids, people who don't know much about sport, it's cool for that aspect. But I
didn't know they put all that in there.
Yeah, so where the penalty marker was, they would show that little kid would come up and explain the penalty. So little things like that help, I guess, the younger kids, if they don't know the sport well, to get involved and kind of know what's going on.
Okay.
But I think Major League Baseball needs to invest in that, just to kind of bring some spark and get everybody back into watching baseball again.
True.
That'd be good. That'd be good. But it's a whole different demographic, man, that you're trying to capture. It's good though. It's good.
Yeah, and I think the NBA needs to bring back some of the old school stuff, bring back Ahmad Rashad and All Access, get that going again to get some of the.
Yeah, I used to like that, man, but it's the NBA. You have a more attractiveness to it because you actually get to see the players. Yeah. And, with football, you only see the major players because they have more commercials and they get more coverage on the sidelines and more talk time about them. So in that aspect, I like what Ahmad Rashad brought to the game and a lot of what Chris Berman and those guys were doing with those extra shows. So that was all fun and entertaining to watch. But basketball itself, it's just on a whole dynamic because of, you got a professional sports, big name guys, crazy amount of money thrown at them. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you actually get to see them. You see them visually during the play. You see their facial reaction during the game, whether they're in the game or on the sideline. So, which is very much so different in football because we wear a helmet the entire time.
Right. Yeah, I saw someone online was saying that if the NBA wants to get the older crowd back, they need to bring back the NBC on NBA, NBA on NBC theme song, which is now Fox Sports College Basketball uses that song now.
Yeah, I wish they would get rid of the Emmitt Smith rule, because like, what's the penalty? I don't see any unsportsmanlike in that by taking your helmet off, removing your helmet. Now, if you want to sit there and cuss at somebody, or if it's in the scheme of you trying to fight someone, maybe, but just taking your helmet off to celebrate, I see no penalty, no unsportsmanlike in that.
Yeah. Well, and I think now there's a more lenient with the taking the penalty, taking the helmet off. Like I know, like Tyreek Hill's, like I think one of the games his helmet came off, like it was like loose, and so he was readjusting it. They didn't call a penalty on that, but I think they still call it if you take it off.
Different, because I saw one guy that actually took his off as a touchdown and got the penalty. And so it's in that way, the way Tyreek did it, very understandable. And I'm pretty sure the ref was looking at him like, oh, he's just trying to adjust his helmet.
Right.
But take it off and like, hey, I'm in the camera. What does that hurt?
Yeah.
Like, who does that offend?
Blatantly doing it like, hey, look at me. I'm being defined pretty much.
Exactly. And we're literally the only sport. Baseball doesn't wear anything that covers your face. Boxing doesn't wear anything that covers your face. Tennis doesn't, all these other sports. And like, we're the only sport that has to wear something that covers our face the majority of the time that we're on the field. So what's wrong with us taking the helmet off? I want my family to see me on TV.
Yeah.
I want my kids to see me on TV. So why can't I take my helmet off?
Well, I'll even say one better. So it's almost like, having the same last names, like we was going, I guess a couple of weeks ago, talking about the running backs, and it's like, man, who was this that scored, right? They might say the name, right? But which one is it?
Yeah,
Johnson is
exactly.
That, and it's true. Yeah, I'm gonna see a guy's face, absolutely. Shoot, why not?
Yeah. And I guess like some people would say, oh, it's ruining the integrity of the game by taking off the helmet. Nah, get out of here.
I don't get it. Like, how? Even when Emmitt Smith did it, like it wasn't ruining anything. It wasn't. I didn't see it trying to upend somebody else. Like, what's the unsportsmanlike conduct in this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's not really like taunting. What you're doing is you just showing somebody like, man, I did something well. Shoot, like you said, everybody else that does something well in the world, everybody gets to show their face, right? Hey,
exactly.
Yeah, shoot, yeah. So.
Yeah, just another way refs can control some kind of outcome in the game.
That's true.
What else can it be? All right, so we're gonna get into, before we get into the Chiefs and Browns matchup, we're gonna kind of talk about this past weekend. Of the 6 games we saw, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. We saw the Ravens, Browns, and Buccaneers and Rams go on the road. So 4 of the 6 games we had the road teams win. What kind of stood out to you guys this weekend?
Pretty much the Pittsburgh and Cleveland game. I mean, just from the start to how that game started and to how it actually ended, and how well they actually played and coming back. Pittsburgh did. It was almost like the Broncos in their Super Bowl game when they were favored to win, and first snap of that Broncos game, the ball goes over Peyton's head, into the end zone, and it was basically over from there. Like, they just couldn't get back on track. And it's kind of the same thing with Pittsburgh being at home and being favored. Just, they were never in it from the start. And just see how, heck, I think he threw for 500 yards. And that's from a guy that's been injured and throughout the season, didn't play last season. From his receiver taking flack because of his dance moves, being on doing this TikTok stuff, to having so many injuries, key injuries for Pittsburgh. And yet on the other side, just to see how Cleveland took full advantage of what was given. So,
man, I tell you what it kind of showed me really was just the better teams won. I mean, in my opinion, even as you're seated, it's all based off of, like, look, if you're looking at this, how teams are playing, the schedule of the people they're playing should be a determining factor. But we're going off, wins or losses, of course. But every game to me played out the way it should have, except the one. It was Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And of course, we know, just kind of talking about it, because, stats guy, you was talking to, Coach Ramil a couple of weeks ago. Look, if you have a certain amount of turnovers, the chances you winning the game are slim to none. I mean, I don't care who you are. I mean, trying to make up that type of, those errors is almost ridiculous to try to do. Seriously, it's insurmountable. So that was the reason I think Pittsburgh, they just got in the hole so quick and, put them in a great position for them to win. But like I said, just going back to it, I think really it's just showed me that the better teams really won.
Yeah, we kind of saw that. I mean, going towards the end of the season, Pittsburgh. I mean, we were talking on the show where they could possibly go 16-0. I remember that was one of the questions. What was more possible, the Jets to go 0-16 or the Pittsburgh to go 16-0? And I mean, yeah, you guys said it's really hard to go 16-0, as you all know. But I mean, they just kind of like went like this, and they crashed towards the end of the season. So I mean, yeah. Were you that surprised? Were you surprised about the outcome, but how it happened more so?
With the end of the season or the game?
The Steelers. Were you more surprised about the outcome of that game, or just how it happened overall? Just kind of the
basically just how it happened for me. Like I figured, like with Tomlin leading that team, it would be way closer than what it was, or even a victory for Pittsburgh. But like I said, when you got that kind of a play to start the game out with, you're just doomed from the start.
They always say, certain plays set the tone of the game. And when you come out like that, man, that sets the tone immediately. Already in your head, like, daggone, what are we doing? Now you already think, we're not even ready to play. It's just playoffs right now. So now all of a sudden everything just becomes in the playoffs, man. It's that's it. This game is
done.
We're done. You're going home. So it's the same thing, man. The team smells blood, put them in a position. So especially, and I'll say this too. Pittsburgh is one of the teams that I think does a better job with the fans in the stand, right? I mean, it's that terrible towel that's waving. You know what I mean? That you had to see. It's just that air and that environment that is really huge for them as an advantage. And they didn't have that. I mean, I just remember just, sitting up there just watching the motel towel just going and rolling and stuff like, man, that's hard. And this always reminds you of the history of that, that black and gold, right? Of the defenses and the teams that they had. And so not having that element, the 12th man is really tough, especially you start messing up, right? Because you start looking around at the stands, all I got is guys on the sideline. That's it. Cleveland, they ain't gonna cheer for me. So that was really it. So the way that it happened, man, that's just tough. It was tough for them. So, but you see how they was coming back. I'll say that. So Cleveland, I started thinking like, Pittsburgh started to make a little trail at the end. Try to see, try to make it a game, and fell short.
Yeah, as far from a fan point of view, like just seeing, Pittsburgh, you're talking about the kind of the fan base there, and Seattle too. That was another team that faltered, that didn't have that their fan base around them. The 12th man there.
I think Aaron Donald is in Russell Wilson's head. Like that's the one man that scares him the most whenever he plays against him. So, and every time they play, Aaron Donald is always he sacked him every game I think that they played. So that's one of those. I hate to kind of say it, but it's almost like us against Indy, during our days, like we just couldn't get over that hump. And that seems to be the same way with them. And you starting out with a quarterback who nobody had ever heard of is what the Rams did, and ended up playing really, really good ball with him. And all of a sudden you knock him out. I thought that was it. I thought Seattle was going to take off. But yet you got an injured what's his name? God, I can't think of his freaking name. The quarterback. Goff comes in and makes just enough effort and plays to keep them in the lead and to keep that victory. But the defense played well. At times they faltered. Like Jason said, better teams won. And I honestly don't know if the better team was within the Rams that game. I just know that they ended up playing better that day.
True. But you were talking about Aaron Donald. It's true. That joker is everybody's nightmares. I guarantee you.
I know.
Shivering. They're waking up like, he's like, yeah, that joker's coming to town. He's gonna be here.
Man, as a Chiefs fan, I enjoy watching him and Khalil Mack play. I take joy in watching those two dudes play.
Oh yeah.
And thankfully, they're in a different conference.
True. Yeah.
The last thing on this past weekend, do you guys think it's kind of the swan song for Phillip Rivers and Big Ben? Do you think it was the last we'll receive from them?
I don't know. I think Roethlisberger will come back just because of the way they started their season. I think he feels like, to be honest, I think that what Drew Brees is doing at his age and what Tom Brady is doing is going to give a lot of these guys that have kind of solidified their place in the Hall of Fame that extra push to say, okay, I can continue doing this. I can go out there and still give you 4,000 yards in a season, and I'll give you a chance at making the playoffs and to get to the Super Bowl. And that's what I think when you got a Phillip Rivers, he's going to always give you a chance to get into the playoffs. The same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. And if you have a chance to get into the playoffs, you always have a chance to get to the Super Bowl. So with those type of players, why would you hang it up at 38? And I would say such a young age, but because it's younger than what I am right now. But in football terms, it's old. And you hear other people complain like, oh, he's so old, he shouldn't be out there. Well, I mean, he's putting up almost 400 or 500 yards on these other players out here. So he must not be that old or too bad. So I don't see him hanging it up.
Phillip Rivers, I think they did just enough. And the thing is, they're such an integral part of the team that they'll be asked as far as like, what do you need? What do we miss? What do we need to get this thing going to win a championship? And I think with those guys inputting what they need will help out a lot. So I think more Phillip Rivers here than Ben. Now, when I seen Ben on that bench crying, I think he kind of knew. And I'm gonna say this: unless he's getting on Drew Brees or,
but it wasn't him though, JD. He didn't. You got an All-Pro center that threw that ball over his head. And that's how that game started.
Again,
and all of a sudden, it just they couldn't put things together. Defensively, they couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop Cleveland.
Right. But so the question to me is like when I said him sitting there, and I was going to finishing my point was either he gets on the program like Tom Brady about his body because he just looks wrecked physically. He just looks wrecked. You know what I mean,
man, Ben always looked like that.
I know it.
Ain't got a muscle in his body.
Right. He was sitting on that bench like, man, I don't know if we'll go through another year of this, and so when I just seen him there kind of with the somber, feeling and the look on his face and the tears and the guy sitting right next to him, I think he kind of told his offensive line a little bit like, this may be my last game. I'm sure he's probably expressed that. And it just seemed like that to me, kind of like the old cowboy, right? Just sitting out there, just looking at the sunset, and you just know it's his time. He's ready to hang up his spurs. That's it. Take your boots off and go sit off somewhere in the plane. So I don't know, but I don't think Phillip Rivers will leave. He's got a lot of fire still left in him. But Ben, yeah, possibly, yeah, maybe.
I mean, so technically, you're saying that Ben is going out like Kobe. Kobe's last game, Kobe put up 60. So Ben goes out his last game, he puts up 500 yards.
Hey man, hey, and then it's not on him. Hey man, he put up 500 yards. Can't do no more than that, right? Can't do no more than that. You just went out on the way that you want to do on your shield. You threw for 500 yards, Ben. It ain't your fault.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
But that's also incentive to say, I still got it. I can still go out and do it.
I hear you. I hear you. So it's I don't know.
But you might be right.
Yeah, and Joker couldn't move around. Joker could not move, and I felt sorry for him sometimes because he was back there just with that arm, like trying to just
And he said his elbow was never really that, it never healed like 100%. They said he still feels pain in that elbow area for wherever the injury he had last year. So that's, as a quarterback, that's definitely a hindrance, especially as you get to the cold weather games in this time of the year.
Oh yeah. Huge.
Man, Ben threw for 500 yards. I'm going to keep saying he threw for 500 yards. It ain't got nothing to do with that. I think if he was to retire, it would be based upon what they do this offseason. If they don't give him enough weapons, as we talked about early in one of the shows, Juju hadn't had 100 yards since AB left. So obviously Juju wasn't the receiver that they thought he was going to be. The little young guy, Clayton, has stepped in and played well, but he's not one of those that I can always count on. Aaron Rodgers has Adams. We got Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Russell Wilson has DK Metcalf and Lil Lockett. So I just don't see that go-to receiver that Ben has that he can count on when he needs that first down or those extra yards. So that might be the one thing that keeps him from not wanting to come back. If they don't do anything drastically in this offseason, I can see him hanging it up.
I was gonna say, man, he's got weapons around him. He does.
Oh.
And Juju had what, 147, 160 this game? And maybe it might be like, look, that's what we needed. They're coming out. And maybe his feelings was being hurt with AB and talking about him. And
I don't want to hang on this for too long, but I feel like for Juju to go out and put up them kind of numbers, to me, it seemed like it was at the point to where, because I think Cleveland was already up 28 or 20-something to nothing.
Yeah.
So why would I go to a man defense? I'm just the go zone. If they catch something, we make the tackle. And that's kind of what it came down. And that's where Juju got a lot of his chunks at.
Right. Well, I feel like they didn't use the tight end either. I'm a tight end guy, man. Ebron, shoot, you got to utilize him. He's athletic, big. You got to use him too. So I think Ben hadn't really had that since Miller was there, Heath Miller. Mm-hmm. Other than that, man, he ain't really had like a huge tight end. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do because they have Juju's a free agent and so is James Conner. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do on their skill with their skilled players on offense. But we're just kind of for the next concern, we're gonna kind of stay with the Chiefs or the Browns game. As you guys mentioned, Browns gave the upset, the beatdown in Pittsburgh. But what's something that you saw from Cleveland on Sunday that could be kind of a cause for concern come this Sunday when they play us?
Man, Cleveland's good. We've already noticed, from midway through the season, they got a great two-headed monster in the backfield. And when those two are playing well, Baker plays well. They have really good receivers. Beckham being out, and they're still making plays with. I forget the guy that took Beckham's place, but he stepped up and he's playing just as well. And he's got Baker playing better, and their defense is always going to add pressure. So I don't see it being a cakewalk. I do feel like we'll still win it, but they have a chance.
What I took away from this game really was how well Cleveland's offensive line protected Baker. And I think that's the big difference for the reason they won the game, because he had time to throw. And some of those passes, and you see somewhere along the line when they knew they weren't getting to him, they started stopping and jumping up, knocking the ball down. Well, Baker's only 6 foot, to be honest with you. So a lot of his throws are going to be low, trying to get over the line. And so I seen them stopping to get to it. Now, will the Chiefs pass rush be better? I think so. I think they do a much better job. I think they'll scheme it up a little bit better. And the reason is because I would rather run man on the outside, bring that extra guy down in the box, stop that two-headed monster like you said, stop the run game. And just hope like Breland and them guys hold up on the outside, right?
Yeah.
So, you kind of, switch up your defense a little bit. So, run a couple blitzes, bring them up, send them out. But I don't have any trust in Baker Mayfield, to be honest with you. So I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan at all. And I know he'll poop the bed if you get after him. That's all you have to do. Once you get that joker going and really get in his head, it's done. It's over with. So,
yeah. And I think PFF or one of the next gen stats, the Twitter accounts was talking about I guess the amount of time Baker was taking with the ball. He was getting rid of that ball within 1 to 2 seconds. He's not holding the ball at all. So that's something that they said it was kind of their way to kind of play at the Pittsburgh's pass rush, and possibly this weekend too, as far as trying to get the ball out fast and not have to worry about the pass rush. What is kind of like something to counter that if if a quarterback wants to get the ball out fast, what's kind of the best counter for that, Eric?
If he's wanting to get the ball out fast,
if they're designing plays to get it out quick, just quick routes, quick plays. I mean, what's kind of the best way to kind of counteract that, combat that?
I mean, if he's going to run those quick routes and quick snaps, you run a two-man, and so that's basically a man under. And every routes he wants to run, you got a cornerback that's trailing, because Baker doesn't throw a lot of deep balls. They don't have any big receivers. Landry is a great possession guy, so he's going to have all those in-between routes, that he can shake and get away from. So you run man under, and you take advantage of that. Now, the worst part about man under defense is that everybody's back is turned to the quarterback. So he has free range, free room to run, and Baker's a pretty decent scrambler. So that's just a matter of our front seven containing it.
I think what you had to do, and I've seen this in a couple of games, man, you run some TEs, you do some blitzes, back guys out, that they're in those quick routes. And also too, I think, like, once you bring pressure early, I think you still got to hit him, regardless of it. Even if you get back here, man, just lean on him, son. Lean on him. If you get him disrupted, I think it's what it take his timing off, right? Because he was just in a flow. He was in a flow because he had no pressure. So he could just sit back there, ball. He's seeing it, ball. He knows if it's man or zone. So he already know who he's going to, just based off what the defense is giving him. So I think, you disguise a little bit, what you're going to give him. And I'll say this, and I've told people off of this, I haven't really talked about it here. We have a problem with tight ends, like good receiving tight ends. We have an issue with. And Austin Hooper, he's a good tight end. And if he, is able to get out, how we match up against him is going to be key. Because I think if we stop him and match up well with him, then that's going to be a lot too to deal with, as far as getting the ball out. Because I've seen a lot of just quick out routes by the tight end. I was just watching them, and I could see the combination. And I was sitting there like, oh man, that's a good route. That was a good combination. And I could just see the combinations how they was working out. But he was just getting open because he was just one-on-one with the safety or with the linebacker. Yeah. So it's it's just one of those things, man. You just got to disrupt that timing.
First concern is stopping Chubb and Kareem. So if we don't stop them, then their whole playbook is open.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And they actually have a good two tight end set between Hooper and Njoku, which I think he's a free agent also this year, which if I'm Brett Veach, maybe going out and getting a nice number 2 tight end. So you guys mentioned Kareem Hunt. That leads us to our next concern. So after the game on Sunday, he had a little video that he put on, I think, was it Instagram? He put a live Instagram live video saying next week's personal for him. Now, a lot of Chiefs fans were kind of saying, I mean, how personal can it be?
Chiefs, it was his mistake.
Yeah, that's kind of what people are saying online. What do you guys? I mean, do you guys think it's fair for him to say it's a personal game for him, or
he can call it whatever he wants? To us, fans and players and team wise, his decision came down to his demise. So I guarantee if the team was able to keep him, they would have. Yeah. He was a great running back for us. He's doing great things for Cleveland. And I felt like, we did lose a piece of our offense, but, we've had other players to step up and maintain for us. But what he's brought on himself is, it's just personal for himself. It has nothing to do with the team.
JD?
So just the aspect of playing against your old team is kind of what he's saying. And I've been there before. But I also, too, I think it was more so like, you know what? I made this mistake. And I kind of lied about it, right? Because I'm a young guy. I didn't really know how to handle it. Didn't know the tape was going to come out. Well, guess what? You got this joker back here that y'all kept, right? That did what I did in college. Y'all know he did it. And y'all didn't leave him alone. And y'all just kind of threw me out there. And I know it's probably what he's thinking. He's probably thinking that the Chiefs abandoned him in a time of need. And so, as opposed to maybe giving him maybe the suspension and having like, look, we're just gonna stick with you because of what you've done. And that's probably what he thought too. Like, you know what? I gave so much. I was the leading rusher, you know, during my year with the Chiefs. Like, why would y'all just abandon me like that? And so part of that is just the immaturity part. And I understand like this part of it being the business, the responsibility being on him. And I think he knows that now. But to him at the time, he's just like, you know, I was kind of, you know, reaching for straws. What could I do? And he was just probably looking for some type of more support than what he thought. And I think at the time he felt like them cutting ties with him, he didn't quite agree with. So to him, yes, a revenge, you know, coming back to the team. We say it like, you know what, yeah, that's not really fair the way that you see it. But I know that's probably what he's talking about as how he feels.
Right. And apparently, I think Travis Kelce had a press conference today or yesterday when he was talking to the media. He was saying that they're still very close, him and Kareem. They still talk all the time and stuff. So a lot of these guys, I mean, he's friends with a lot of these guys in this team still, even after what happened. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah, it is personal. Those are his boys on the other side of the field. So
yeah, they kicked you out of the family.
Yeah.
They just kicked you out. Hey, you got to go, man. You did something bad. You know, you got to go. Yeah, for my boys over there. Like, yeah, but you on the other side of the fence. Yeah, go. You know, so. Hey.
All right, so the next concern, we talk about Kareem Hunt, and then we're talking about our other running back, CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yesterday, he was back in practice. Now, today, he did not practice. And we had 3 guys in the injury report today that did not practice. So it was Sammy Watkins, Willie Gay, and CEH. Now, which one of those, I mean, those are all kind of impactful guys. Which one of those is kind of more like when you hear that he's not practicing, what would you say more impacts the game more, not playing?
To me, I know Sammy's missed a chunk of what we've done this year, but when he's in, he's made the team way better off. You know, they're a better oiled machine when Sammy's in. Clyde has done well, but Clyde's still a first-year guy, still learning the program. Love to have him back, but we still have 2 good running backs that can carry the load if need be. I think we have enough going with the secondary to cover up for Gay also. But I know that having Sammy in, his awareness, his intelligence, his IQ level, he knows how to get open. And he knows how to keep possession, keep yardage markers moving, and keep the offense going. So I'd rather, you'd like to have all of them back, but if you got to pick one, I'd have to go with Sammy.
Yeah, I agree with E on this, man. Now, if you were averaging 150 yards a game on the ground, that's not what the Chiefs do. So you know who's going to help you up more. So Sammy is that possession receiver, big guy that you need to move the chains. And like I said. So the end run of the football is throwing a quick pass, a little screen, or just a quick dump to Sammy. First down. So that's how you move the chains with the Chiefs. So, you know, love to see CEH out there. Would love to see him. But, you know, if he had a setback, like you said, you still got 2 guys out there who can still do it. Maybe now, shoot, Le'Veon, maybe it's your time. Come on, baby, it's your time. Now let's go. Le'Veon show. Let's get this going. Let's get this out here. Let's see what you can do. Playoff time. It's time to bring it back, baby. It's time to bring it back. So I know CEH wanted to come back because he probably wanted to show Kareem what he had, and Kareem wanted to show him, like, is this who y'all dropped?
Yeah.
Really? So it kind of reminds me, matter of fact, kind of talking about that. I don't remember the movie Troy. Okay.
Yeah.
So when he's the brother comes there for Helen, and he's whooping the prince.
Yeah.
And he's yelling up there like, is this who you left me for? Like, it kind of reminds me, I don't know, it just came in.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess you kind of alluded to it, Jason. Do you think that Le'Veon's there's a chance that he's the X factor for us in the playoffs?
Oh yeah. Come on now. It's time to wiggle. It's time to use that little stop and start and, you know, getting the ball out on the perimeter, because that's what it's going to be, right? Instead of like little passes, do a great job of just, you know, using motion. But yeah, him catching the football out the backfield is going to be key for us. And then, of course, just getting up there, just, you know, eating some chunks. And I think against this defensive front, he's going to be effective. So I think Le'Veon, man, I've been looking for it for the past 6 weeks. Let's see what he can do now. It's playoffs time. This is it. Ain't no more, sitting back. Let's go.
And to your point, Eric, about Sammy Watkins, he was our unsung hero last year. We had Damian Williams who tore it up, but Watkins came on strong in the playoffs. He missed a lot of time during the regular season. He came on strong last year in the playoffs. So definitely going to be needed, especially that veteran leadership at the receiver in playoffs. Okay, so the next concern, this is something that I did kind of want to ask you guys. So we talked about Pro Bowl being not as big of a deal, I guess, in recent years. But what about the All-Pro lists? Patrick Mahomes is on the second team All-Pro this week. He tied with Josh Allen. Aaron Rodgers was number one, first team. But do you think there would be some kind of chippiness to Patrick Mahomes, to something to prove in the playoffs, being named as second team All-Pro? What do you guys? Is that something that a player will take to heart, or could take to heart?
Very possibly. I know that as much as the guy says that they don't look at that kind of stuff, we really do, because we always want to be at the top of our class. And I had a question with some friends last week, and it was based upon this whole 99 rating that Madden gives. So when we're at the NFL, at the elite of our profession, what gives you 100%? So I would say Pro Bowl. If you make the Pro Bowl, you're 98, 99%. You're all pro, first team. Why can't that be 100? You're the best of the best. Am I wrong?
Can't do it. Can't give nobody a perfect number. Come on, you know that.
Huh?
I don't care. There's always got to be a flaw or something, man.
I get it, JD, but you're the best of the best. Is this that year?
You know anybody that's flawless? I never.
They had look. Oh, wait. Tecmo Bowl when they had Bo Jackson on that sucker.
and I think that's what they probably complained about. This like, look, we can never do it again.
But you only had one person though.
That's it. Well, shoot, Bo deserved it. That joker was damn near flawless. Shoot. So and he showed it not just on the gridiron, but he was out there, man, in the outfield. So Bo knows everything. I mean?
Well, heck, I guess they should have made Dion 100 then.
Oh, well, not like Bo. Not like Bo now.
Dion is the greatest athlete of my time.
Dion didn't want to tackle nobody.
Doesn't matter.
I went by him and I tried to run Dion over. He sidestepped me, man, and then caught me from behind.
I'm gonna sidestep you too.
If you're gonna be the best, man, you can't. Come meet me there. You know what I'm saying? Don't give it up. Don't.
That's not a part of my. I mean, JD, my. If I gotta get you on the ground, I'll find a way. But I'm not gonna hit you head up, man. You are too big. What do they say when it comes down to it? Is a business decision and a personal? Like,
you're right.
I trip you.
Well, that's why Dion couldn't get no 100 because of that. Now if he met me head up and stuff me, I'm like, oh, this joke. He better give him 100. So.
But yeah, I think they do. I would take it personal. I mean, even though Aaron Rodgers had a great year, and I think during a few of the games, the commentators kind of announced who are the front runners for MVP. And it was always talks about Patrick and Aaron Rodgers. And all of a sudden, Patrick near the last few games had those crucial interceptions, even though we still pulled away with the wins. And Aaron Rodgers was having almost perfect games, him and Adam. So I think that kind of gave him the leap over Patrick. So yeah, you hate to see it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's happy for Aaron Rodgers, but he'll probably go out and prove it. Just like last year when they mentioned that Lamar Jackson was going to win the MVP of the season. You can have that MVP. I'm going to get this Super Bowl ring right here. So, and I think that's right now the thing that's on Patrick's mind right now is like nothing about being that number one quarterback. It's going back for another Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, look, listen, we all compete. We can always say these things don't matter to us, but I guarantee you that is disrespectful to Patrick. It is.
Oh, I know. I said it was now.
Yeah. He's probably look. They did commercials together. And we know, you're probably looking for the Super Bowl to be a State Farm Super Bowl, but he's probably like, yeah, I can't believe it. It did that to me. Like, really? Like, how they keep? Wait till I show these guys. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, this is giving him a little bit of that boost, a little bit of passion. He comes out and he just wears Cleveland out. You wear him out. So yeah, Patrick, use it, baby. Go ahead.
Even though I got an upset coming this weekend.
Uh-oh.
I got the Rams beating Green Bay.
What?
Ooh.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us into our next segment, which is the game picks for this weekend. We'll start with the Rams and Packers game. Why do you have the Rams over the Packers? What's your overall reason for that one?
I can't even think of my man's name. I got it right there on the tip of my tongue. Cornerback.
Oh, Ramsey.
Yes. So I really think they're going to match Ramsey up wherever he goes. It did the same thing with Metcalf. And I think Metcalf ended up getting his biggest yards when they went zone. And he broke out the zone and got past the defense on that scramble play on Russell Wilson. Other than that, I'm not calling him a shutdown corner. He's a good corner. He does his job. He does it well. And I think that you put him matched up with Adams, he'll be able to contain him. You can't stop anybody in this league. You're not going to do that. But I think he'll do well enough to contain him. Plus, you got big Aaron Donald coming from the middle. So,
JD.
Look, we're talking about probably the second best arm in the league. All right, he's been known as a first, and he can make every throw that you could possibly think about making. But I think Devontae Adams against Ramsey, Devontae's gonna win it every time, man. He just runs.
I can't see him win every time, JD. Winning.
Hey, look, I don't have to win every time, though. You know how it is. Look, just give me 5. Let me 5 times, right?
Okay, but also you got to understand, like as a quarterback, you going up against a Pro Bowl cornerback, and you know how well he plays. You know he wants that pick. He wants that big play. You can't take a lot of those chances and say, okay, Devontae, I need you to go and take this, take control of this play. Ramsey, on the other hand, is gonna fight for that ball and he's gonna go for it. So Aaron's not gonna look that way a lot. He's gonna need these other guys to step up. And so in return, I think, like I said, contain. He's not going to be able to stop him. I think he'll contain him enough to get them the victory. But that's just my upset, though. I'm just
yeah.
I'm going to the grain.
You got to go with you got to go with your pick. I hear you.
Yeah.
I just think that Devontae, man, just watching this year, man, he's been phenomenal. I mean, he's just been up there just killing folks. He's just been taking names, really. And,
99 rating. I'll drop down to 80.
Well, we'll see about that. But
that's how many he'll have. 80 yards, guaranteed.
80.
Ooh. I'm gonna bet you $50 right now. He won't get over 100.
Bet. I'll take it. Who else? You hear that? Any other takers?
Oh, it's recorded. I'm looking right now.
I'm staying away from that one. Ramsey's got the. I can see Ramsey shutting him down, and then them just trying to make other guys like Scantling and Tanyan try to beat him instead of Adams.
Oh, Adams he's gonna have over 100 yards. He'll have 80 in the first half. Easy.
Okay, 80 is his total.
Yeah. Hey, look, and they'll go up top quick.
80 is his total.
Huh?
80 will be his total.
I hear you. But they take shots quick, man. They'll take a shot. They don't care. Offensive mind up there. They look to attack you. So
you have an experienced All-Pro cornerback going against your 99 rating wide receiver.
I go with Adams all day. All day. Yeah.
$50 on Adams getting more. JD, you think he's gonna have more than 80 yards receiving?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's gonna eat this week.
I just want to say Packers are a 7-point favorite going into this game.
I knew that. I said upset.
All right. The next one will stay in the NFC. We'll go Saints and Buccaneers as the next one. Right now, the Saints are a 3-point favorite against Tampa.
I'm surprised it's 3. They've been, excuse my language, kicking the shit out of them this season. Like the first game was a blowout, second game was a blowout. So I don't see why the third game be any different.
JD?
I'm seeing, look, and I got to stay with my pick. I said the pick for me this year is going to be the Chiefs against Brady.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at for the Super Bowl. And I just think, man, to be honest with you, man, through Tampa Bay, they're rolling. And they got AB out there too. AB and his crazy self, they got him now. So it changes things up a little bit. And they got a great defense, Buccaneers. New Orleans does too, but I just think Tom, man, at magic. Just got that magic, man.
Have you seen the games they played? They played twice this year.
I've seen the games, but this is the only one that counts. This one right here counts. So Tom, like I said, he's going to start eating some avocado ice cream. He'll get a couple more extra massages in, do a little yoga. Yoga's going to be ready, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say both games this weekend, New Orleans didn't really blow like the doors off until the fourth quarter of that game. So that Chicago game was very close for a while. And then I would say on the Buccaneers aspect, they were playing against Tyler Heineke. It was the guy's the second or third star in the NFL, and he played his ass off in that game.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, he did.
He looked good.
That's the thing. You going against the unknown, you don't know how to prepare. It's just like when Herbert came out against us and had a great game. All these other quarterbacks come out in their first season and they look good, and all of a sudden they're discovered. And the second year, they don't produce half of what they did the first year. And take nothing away from Heineke. He stepped up and played as good as they need and didn't pull it out, but played very well. But again, I just don't see them, after the 2 butt whoopings that they took, going out there and figuring things out at this point.
All right. So we're going to go to the AFC now. So this is, someone could say this is probably the best AFC matchup. I mean, I guess we say Chiefs and Browns. That to me, obviously the Chiefs are, the number 1 seed. But I would say Bills and Ravens is probably the most. I would say I'm more excited to watch this game this weekend more so than the Chiefs game, because I think the Chiefs. I don't want to ruin it, but I think we're a lock this weekend. I think the Bills and Ravens game is more of the toss up here. Bills are a 2.5-point favorite against the Ravens. JD, who you got in this one?
Oh, I'm going with the Ravens. I'm going with the Ravens on this one. I told you, man, that dynamic player back there, man, in Lamar Jackson, man, told you, man, he wears that cape. He put that cape on, and he changes the whole dynamic of the game. And I said that, man, when bottle up what you had to do. So now this week, you got to come after the quarterback. That's the key. And then, of course, stop Diggs. But like I said, you get into Diggs' head, right? Let Beasley and everybody else beat you. Let the running backs beat you. And so if you put it there, I think you have a better shot. They got a great defense, a good enough defense, put it that way. Good enough defense, I think, pull it out. So I got the Ravens upsetting the Bills. That's what I'm looking at.
Eric?
I'm going with the Vegas pick. I'm sticking with Buffalo. I just don't think, kudos to him getting his first playoff victory. I just don't think he has enough to get past this Bills defense. And Lamar Jackson outside the pocket isn't the same as Josh. God, I'm getting
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I was about to say Josh Jackson. Josh Allen is completely different quarterback outside the pocket, and he's more accurate. So he's the guy that's showing to be more so on the Mahomes level of, you don't want him to get outside the pocket, but you don't also feel comfortable with him sitting in the pocket because he's going to hurt you either way. And he's been running the ball pretty hard lately and picking up crucial yards with that. So I just think the Bills defense is good enough to stop them. They won't be able to stop, but contain them for enough to get a victory.
All right. So we're going to say the best for last year. Chiefs, Browns. I think I know the answers here, but who do you guys have? Chiefs are a 10-point favorite against Cleveland.
I got Chiefs 97-20. Nah, you know what's so crazy? I had them at a 10-point victory myself, and And then you just saying that I was figuring that it'd be a 10-point victory. I saw something on Twitter to where Patrick was studying the two teams that we would have to face, that potentially have to face, and it came down to Cleveland. So it's I know his wife, fiance, had posted that he was wrapped up in the video session, getting prepared for it. So I think he's gotten his homework done, and he'll be ready to go. How well the other team will be prepared, I think they with the week off preparation, mentally, physically, they'll be ready to go.
JD.
So I'm thinking probably a 10-point victory. But I'm gonna go with E. He's always over 30, right? So I'm saying 34-24. So Cleveland's not gonna go away, but I don't think it's gonna be Patrick and them scoring a lot of points in the first half, kind of getting ahead. And then, somewhat Cleveland's trying to catch up. So now all of a sudden, running the football is not as effective. Now you got to put it in Baker's hand, right? So I don't see them scoring no more than 24 points. What they did last week was just, of course, because of the turnovers and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Was the problem. But I think the Chiefs defense is going to be better. They're better suited, I guess, against what they do. So I'm looking, 34-24.
Good score. I like that. I'm going to go with the same score, 34-24.
Well, I like that. Yeah, I mean, it should be a good one. I think this is the first time that Browns, if Baker and Mahomes did play each other last year, and Mahomes got the best of them. But if you go back to, I think it was 2 years ago, and then if you just go back their history against Oklahoma versus Texas Tech, they had the highest scoring game in college football history, or the most yards produced in a single game. I forgot what the final score was, but Mahomes had like 800, nearly 800 yards passing in that game on like 75 passing attempts. So
crazy, insane.
All right, so we're going to go to our final segment, which is the Chiefs Kingdom Concerns segment. This is where I look at the hot takes that are being shown on Twitter. And the first one actually comes from one of our own, Sammy Watkins. And, right now he's not practicing, but maybe just based on the way he's speaking online, maybe it's giving a hint that he might play. This one is for you, Jason. Sammy Watkins tweeted while watching the Browns and Steelers game, quote, "This is a video game. What the heck is going on? This is weird. I'm speechless. I'm pretty sure the whole world is shocked because I've never seen anything like this in my life. Not in the NFL." And then he gave 3 wide-eyed face emojis. Then a Chiefs fan responded saying, @ViralScopes29 responded, "Looks like we got some competition next week." Hard-eye face emoji and crying face emoji. And then Sammy responded, "I wouldn't go that far, LOL." What's your response to that one, Jason?
I think that was appropriate. It was. Because I had to be the same when as many points that they scored with Cleveland and Pittsburgh, I didn't think it was so. Because I was sitting there like, man, they're scoring way too easy. And I was watching that he was scoring. I'm like, man, that's too easy. That's just too easy. And so Sammy was like, I get it. Because I didn't think Cleveland and Pittsburgh was going to be like that. But then all of a sudden somebody's like, oh man, oh my God, we got to see them next week. Like, look, slow your roll. It ain't going to be that type of game. Not with us. We don't care who it is to come up there. They had to come see us. All right, we put up a whole lot of points. It ain't the other way around. We the one that does that, right? We the one to make everybody else cry. Mm-hmm. So I get that point of it. And they don't care who's coming to town. Don't matter. Shoot, they ain't worried, not at all. So I think it was appropriate by Sammy. Well done. Great comment.
You don't think that's any kind of bulletin board material type of comment? Because they're asking Kareem.
Yeah, I'm with that, Jay. I'm with that, JD. Just because of the simple fact, I just hate the way things have kind of been falling into place this year with certain little things. And I mentioned to Marcus earlier because Dabo Swinney said that about Ohio State, like they're a number 11 team. Well, you got spanked by this number 11 team. All you have to do is keep your mouth shut and go out and play.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, Juju goes out and make these comments. The Browns are the Browns. They're not, they're just a bunch of average players. And all of a sudden you get stomped by those Browns. So I wouldn't want to give them anything. I would just, hey, we'll see how the game turns out.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Our final Chiefs Kingdom concern is for you, Eric. It's from @NFL Draft Scout. They tweeted, "Been texting with an NFL source this morning who thinks there's a very strong chance Eric Bieniemy isn't hired for a head coaching opportunity this cycle. Cites concerns about Reed's coaching tree and timing with Chiefs expected to make a Super Bowl run." Eric, what are your thoughts on that tweet?
I mean, I kind of saw that on Twitter also, and how the guys that have come under Andy Reid haven't done so well. But we mentioned that about Belichick also. Like, a lot of his guys under him haven't turned out so well as head coaches. And I think it's his chance, though. It's his time. He's done well. He's been around for a long time. He knows the game inside and out. He knows how to relate to the players. I just think that it's his time to go out and prove that he's ready to manage, take over a team. At least give him a chance to see what he can do. And especially from what he's accomplished with what he's had so far, I would at least take a chance on him as an owner to see if he can bring that kind of firepower to my team.
Oh, man, hold on. Wait a minute, man. I don't even understand that statement. Okay, Doug Peterson wins the Super Bowl, right? Now he gets to the playoffs. So how the guys are not being successful under the coaching tree under Andy, right? I don't follow that. Seriously, it's not like Belichick at all. So I mean, Patricia goes up there to Detroit, hits the bed. Okay, Daniels went to where he was out in Denver for a little bit. Horrible. So O'Brien goes down to Houston, somewhat decent, but gets fired. Couldn't really rally him. So I just, none of them guys won a Super Bowl. Doug wins it after his first year? They have second year coaching, wins the Super Bowl. So I don't see that. And I'll add on to this. The enemy not being hired as a head coach this time around will be an absolute travesty. It would be absolutely injustice in the league if he didn't get a head coaching job, and he deserves one. So, look, next man up for the Chiefs, man. You got all the pieces. This is just easy for the next guy to come up. You don't need. I won't say you won't need him, but you can manage without him. It's his time. EB's time, man, is now. You should get a head coaching job. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree and all that. I think reading that, it's like, that's just an excuse they're going with. I mean, what are they basing that on? Because like you said, Nagy and Peterson have shown success.
Come on, man.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just an excuse at this point.
Yeah.
All right, well, that does it for our divisional episode. We'll see you next week where we discuss the conference championship weekend. Hopefully, we are amongst one of those teams. Hopefully, we're not talking.
No, not hopefully. We're not going to do that, okay? We're going to speak into – we're going to see everybody next week, all right?
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll be discussing the Chiefs' opponent next week, whoever that is, either the Bills or the Ravens. All right, does that work?
Yeah, it works. Perfect.
If anyone at Chiefs Kingdom has any Chief concerns for these two, please tweet at us at @ConcernsChief, and please subscribe and follow Chief Concerns on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Gentlemen, see you next week.
As always.
All right, my brother.
All right, see you guys.
Later.